What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to Trading Learning 101. It is Monday, July 30th, 10 a.m., and what a crazy morning it has been. We got MYND doing a big U shape right here. I'm not really too crazy about MYND. It does have news, but it's right in between. You can see right here, it's in between the 50-day at $2 and the 200-day here at $2.69. So those are going to act like magnets. And this is just slowly making higher lows right here. Even if it does break 250, it's going to run into a wall right at 270. But then we also have AWX over here, and look at this. This is the one that got squeezed Friday. Today it gapped up and it hit a high of $36. And then after it topped out at 36, it just got destroyed coming down. Everybody was dumping it. And now it's opened up and it just keeps getting halted, like literally every 2 minutes it gets halted. And then when this gets halted, you got MYND, it'll start to move up. And then it's like, then when AWX gets unhalted, all the attention goes back to AWX and this starts to fall back down. So it's kind of weird. I did make a trade. I played SSLJ over the weekend and I held it. I bought 1,300 shares here at $1.30 and I woke up extra early this morning and I just scaled myself out of the position here. Made just over $800 on this just for holding it over the weekend. But this is probably just going to keep bouncing off of $2 all this morning. You can see it's just real choppy right now. It's got just over 6 million in volume. But right when it opened up here, it did pop up to 269. And we'll pull up the daily right here. It does have room to run up to little over $3 to fill this gap right here. But those are the plays this morning. All eyes are on AWX to see what this is going to do. But it just keeps getting halted every 2 minutes.
Torque.
And then we got SSLJ, just a continuation, and MYND. This would have been a really good play to get in down on a bounce here off of $2. The mental support right here. Now watch, this is going to slowly move back up to the resistance here at 255. And then when AWX it just reopened. Let's just watch this for a moment. This is just a crazy play. In case you haven't heard, Guy Gentle, the CEO of SureTrader, he bought just over 2 million shares on Friday to short squeeze all the shorts on this, and that's what made it surge from $6 to up and over $15 and almost touching $20 a share. Could you imagine just buying 1,000 shares right there at $10 or even $6 and waking up Monday morning and having this being gapped up to $36? That's a big payday. Most people have to work a whole year to make that. It's just crazy the opportunity that you have in the stock market. You just have to know what you're doing And it's not gambling, it's risk management, and I'm proof of that.
Torque.
I'm not even touching AWX today. It's just too risky. This could get T12 halt at any moment. And so far, it's just been dumping and getting halted. A lot of volatility here. Looks like SSLJ starting to move back up. Let's look at this. You're going to have a lot of sellers here at 250. You want to see the bid stack up like this, and you want to see the ask get chipped away. But it just sucks because you got all eyes. I don't really want to do anything because you got all eyes on AWX, and then you got eyes on MYND, so it's kind of like the volume is just everywhere right now. MYND is starting to break its trend right here. Watch, it just broke below that line right here, and it's going to start dropping. Unless the buyers can save it. But this is a pattern you want to keep an eye out for in the market. You want to look out for these U-shaped patterns. See how it did a little U-shape right here, and then it comes down and does another U-shape and breaks out of that U-shape. And now the big picture is a big U-shape right here. I just keep seeing a lot of big sellers on SSLJ pop up here on the times and sales. Look at that. They're selling in chunks of 1,000. This is why it's good to be patient. There's just too much going on right now. Too much going on. Stocks ain't really, it's still showing us that stocks ain't breaking out, and bounce plays are still superior right now. And you can clearly see that right here. If I zoom out of SSLJ, this purple line right here, this was a resistance line here, and it's a mental resistance area that this couldn't break through. So then once it broke that, it's going to hold as support now. And you see all this morning, it spiked up and then it came down and it bounced right off that $2. And now it just moved its way back on up. And this is what you call dip buying. Wait for the pullback, see if old resistance will now hold as support, which it did. That's when you dip buy. and you ride it up and you scale out as it's coming up. Don't ever, it's not really a good idea to compulsively buy right in the middle or right at the top because you have all that room to fall. Trust me, I've made those mistakes over and over and over again. Let's go back to AWX. The volume really isn't even up that much on AWX. It's just over 1.8 million. A lot of people are going to be afraid to touch this. But that is just a huge, huge drop right there. Look from there. I know it's like $16 on. From 36. Why do I keep doing that? From here to there. That's almost 200%. $24. Here goes MYND. Let's see what it does as it's approaching 255.
MYND, 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 MYND,
Now remember, the 200-day moving average is at 269.
MYND.
That's why you always gotta look at past history. Even if this does break over 269, that's gonna act as a magnet and it's gonna want to pull back to that area.
MYND, MYND. MYND.
And this did break below the trend line here. I'm surprised it didn't crack. MYND is approaching 7 million in volume. If this doesn't get any buying, here it comes.
MYND, MYND,
It's at the
MYND.
200 moving average right now. Keeping an eye on the times and sales and the level too. You've seen a big flash order there to sell at 265. You got 40,000 shares. Then 40,000 shares popped up right there. There he is, 40,500. He's trying to scare away buyers. And he looks like he's a legit because it's slowly scaling him out. It dropped down to 35,000. You can see he's unloading it right here. You see his people are buying it. 35,000 shares. 34, 23, 19. Here it goes.
MYND, MYND.
You see that big share count just get chipped away really fast and then it popped up? That's what you want to look for on the level 2. You want to see big sizes get chipped away on the ask and big buyers step up here on the bid. But I'm not too convinced with that. When it took that big size out, it only popped up a couple cents. Why? It's having a hard time breaking over this 200-day moving average here at 269. That's going to be a really, really tough wall for that to break through, because a lot of professional traders, that's where they're selling at. That's why you always look at the history of these charts. Always.
AWX.
AWX just got halted again. 14 down to 1250. See, all morning it's just been dropping. Look at that, right before the bell opened, from $25, it
Torque.
opened at 16. Popped up real quick and then dropped down.
Torque.
And this is like the 4th time it's been halted today.
Torque. Torque.
SSLJ is pulling back. This is just going to probably be a good bounce play all day. And then MYND, this is a tough one because it's right at that 200-day moving average.
CREG.
Now Craig wants to pop up. This is the benefit you get with having scanners. When stocks start to pop up like this, you will get notified first and right away. And then even GBR popped up for a second. Look at that, from $2.50 to $3, just a quick pop. But you don't really want to chase these low floats like that.
CREG. CREG.
Chase that.
CREG. CREG. CREG.
50 cents.
CREG.
Let me see, go to CREG.
CREG.
If this breaks over $2, this will get a lot of hype. You could see this likes to pop up a lot. But we got the 200-day at $2 and the 50 days at $1.60, $1.64. So that 50 day is going to act as a resistance wall too, $1.64. So watch. See how it came right up to $1.62 and fell right back down? It just ran into the 50-day moving average. That's why you put those up on your charts, because a lot of traders use those. And then if it breaks through that 50-day and runs up, then that 50-day moving average will act as support when it comes back down. Let's see what it does. I told you guys in the weekly recap that I just put out that a lot of low floats are going to pop up. That AWX got a lot of people in the buying spirit, and they're all going to be buying these low floats. As soon as they pop up on scanners, they're going to attack them. But you don't want to compulsively buy when they hit the scanners. You want to wait for something to set up. And right now, I don't feel comfortable with nothing because there's just too much going on. The volume is everywhere. You can see SSLJ here. It's got a little higher low going to it. Like I said, Greg really has to get over that $2. in order for hype to really come into this. The float on Greg is 5.5 million. MYND's looking good though too, but I just don't like that. It's right at that moving average, so I really don't want to touch this. And I told you guys once again, that moving average. You can see right here, it came right up to it and touched it. It came right back down. This happens all the time. All the time on stocks. Better example right there. See? It could possibly break over it. It's still got a chance. A lot of shorts got murdered on this. If they would have shorted it and didn't sell, even when it was up this high and it gaps up that high, that's a big loss. That's why shorting can be risky. And then right here, when I was scaling out of this pre-market, you could say I did get a little bit greedy. I immediately sold half here as it was approaching $2. Hit a high of 220, and I sold 325 down here at $1.84, and then I got real greedy up here when it was hitting 225 again, and I was just wanting to let that last 325 roll. But as soon as it started dropping back down to $2, I said, I gotta get out. Just take your profit and walk away. And then it bounces right off of $2. The market opens and it runs all the way up to 270. Here goes MYND again. Let's see what it does. MYND's float is 3.4 million. $3,300. I just don't feel like anything really is gonna, the volume is just everywhere. Because you got MYND popping off, you got SSLJ popping off, you got a lot of attention over here on AWX. And this is just opened again. You got 3 tickers here where the volume is just everywhere. And it's going to be really hard for stocks to break out when the volume's distributed like that. And even when this broke the high, it broke a high of what, 15 cents, and it was real fast. It popped up and then it fell right back down. So here it comes again.
MYND, MYND, MYND,
Chipped away.
MYND,
And it's moving up.
MYND, MYND.
If it gets over this 200-day moving average, it will see $3.
MYND, MYND.
Here it goes. You want to see a lot of stacking over here on the bid for buying. You want to see a lot of big orders get chipped away over here. Look at that, it just got pulled right out from it. You got a few people probably panicking and selling. That's why it dropped down like that. They see it's not breaking out. And they're like, get me out. You just seen a big order here flash on the bid. That could be shorts just messing with you to make you think that buying's coming in or someone's trying to prop this up. This level 2 can be manipulated. That's why you got to compare it with the times and sales here. So you got 2 big sellers right there. Back to AWX, it's just still slowly grinding off, but you got to, no one's really going to be touching this, like I said. It's just too risky. And it's still halted. I thought it opened back up. If anything, I would probably want to keep an eye on SSLJ because it's still making higher lows. And it's on this trend line right now. If this holds up, it could have a afternoon breakout. And if you look back on MYND, this is the yearly chart. It doesn't really have a history of running big at all. Well, this opened up in just about a year ago. But there's no really big moves on it. AWX is back. See, not much is moving on the times and sales here. It's only got 2 million in volume. This still could rally though. It could. Anything's possible. You gotta think in the back of your mind, that guy Gentle with his 2 million shares, he's gonna be dumping his shares probably all day. 2 million shares, that's a lot. MYND's back down to the trend line here. Now it's cracking the trend line. But not much is really going on right now, guys. I just thought I'd make a quick video for the morning recap for you guys. The top stocks everybody has that has attention is SSLJ, AWX, and MYND. And once again, I'll show you guys my P&L right here. Held this over the weekend and I made $800 on it. So I'm good for the day. And tomorrow's a new day and we'll come back tomorrow strong. But alright guys, be safe, be disciplined, study. And always observe the market. Alright, later.